I wasn't at the debate today, but I'm here to throw my 50 pence in. I'm Chucky Online, so let's see Wild Gweezy.
Do you actually think that was their tune?
Wasn't that? No!
Oh my god.
Oh, stop this shit!
Are you serious?
No, wait, who sang it originally?
That's a Shai tune.
I want to see if us four in this room can name 10 credible, good UK R&B singers.
Well, I can't
Angel?
name you 10 credible. I can name
that
you
are out now or of all
10.
time?
Let's give it last 15 years.
Beverly Knight, Terri Walker,
Shola Ama.
Shola Ama, Nathan, Craig David.
Yeah.
If you're looking at the ages of the group downstairs, put it this way, I think we cover at least 2 generations. Now, in 2 generations of R&B music in the UK, we struggled to name 10 really good R&B acts. I think that's disgraceful, man. What happened to R&B?
I was fighting really hard to remember some, but they've been off the scene for so long and it's such a damn shame to only remember like Craig David, Beverly Knight, Kele Le Roc. That's really, really bad. And I know there's loads out there. I know there are loads on the circuit trying to come up, but for whatever reason, we're not hearing about them.
Who's that woman that sang for like, I would have, and we were,
What?
No.
What? Wait, spin the camera, sorry. I'm so sorry, whoever that was. We take all that back. That was terrible.
In this country, people are a little bit scared of making R&B music purely because it doesn't really sell. When you think about it, a lot of the people that go and buy the music and stuff in this country, I wouldn't say they're great, massive R&B fans and stuff. They're just kind of into what's in now.
Kevin Smalls is that name?
Yeah.
Keisha White.
Keisha White, yeah.
Keisha White was dope.
Keisha White is coming back, right?
Caron Wheeler, Mica Paris.
Floetry, Ambrosia.
Yeah.
But that's
Marsha
a very good
Ambrosious.
point. Why did Floetry get big? They had to go to the States.
States.
Exactly. She's amazing.
There's 10 names, been names?
That's
We
9.
had
You have to do
a
10.
few, but we had to really think about that, which is really bad.
In America, black culture is a dominant force. Because of it being a dominant force in America, it's swept across the world. I don't think we've had that in England. We're still trying to get the UK to accept hip-hop to a degree, or accept grime. It's early fucking stages for hip-hop, grime and R&B in this country. So in the future, as the movement progresses, I think there will be space for that.
Was Jamelia one?
It's kind of pop.
But she could sing.
Chick that Alicia Dixon comes from.
Is she?
Half and half. But come on.
They weren't really considered R&B, I don't know.
Alright, fair enough.
The point is,
Damage.
Damage.
Oh yeah, Damage, yeah.
Another level of Damage were both a bit.
Another level. I love it.
Get a Romance, that's a hard tune.
that's
No,
true,
don't tell me nothing about that song.
What's the Another Level tune that they did? I wanna lick you up and down.
Hold on. Do you actually think that was their tune?
Wasn't that? No!
Oh my god.
Ah, stop this shit!
Are you serious?
No, wait, who sang it originally?
That's a Shai tune. Oh, Jade.
I'm upset, I'm actually upset.
I'll turn my back to you and I'll speak to Lala because I know Jade, I love you, not in the same way that Poet does, but the fact that you didn't know that Another Level weren't the first to sing that I Want to Lick You Up and Down song, that you weren't aware of the original Shai version, means I can no longer, ever listen to you talk about music again. You got blackballed, sorry.
Under 25s, please do your music history. Wait, no, when you say shit like that, that's when we have to give you side eye. Really? Next you be telling me that blue song, they nicked it and it was from Next.
Too close.
Yeah. See, my earrings are falling out. That's what I'm saying.
So as you see, I caused a bit of hysteria downstairs. Lala, you gotta understand, I was about 2 or 3 years old, and yeah, maybe I should research into R&B or whatever, but at the end of the day, R&B is not a genre that is around a lot now, which might be why my generation is a little tiny bit ignorant to music that came before, because what's the reason for me to go and sit down and research into music that came 20 years ago?
If that's what she knows, you can't blame her for only having that in her head, do you know what I'm saying? If I'm 15 years old now, yeah, how can you blame me for thinking the first time I heard Every Step I Take was by P. Diddy? Do you expect me to fucking know shit from like the 60s and shit? There's a bit of snobbery in that little thing, I would say, and fuck all that shit, you know?
Do you know how big Shai was? Do you know how big that
I know
song
who
was?
Shai is, but I'm saying what
You can't know who
year?
Shai is,
But I
that was
do,
the-
but
that
his
was-
name rings a bell.
Yeah, it's a group.
Really?
And if I am
Oh, for real?
You don't know. Listen, bless Jade, my little friend. She's such a sweetheart. But her saying that is not strange to me because I've heard that from people within her age group before, and it's like, oh yeah, do you remember that song? And it's like, no, that song was done by another group out in probably 1995, 1996.
T3 copied that tune you were singing right there though.
I think somebody did, yeah.
I think T3.
A few people have copied it though.
Anyway, fuck them. Why can't we name,
We ain't know R&B UK singers.
Why is that?
I only know of Dele. That's the only recent one that I've heard.
Oh, Angel's recent
And
right now,
Angel,
of course.
sorry. Angel isn't enough. As great as he is, that's only one. And I've named another one, Dele. That's two.
See, with guys like Angel and Loick Essien, yeah,
and Talay Riley,
I feel like they're dope, but they haven't quite reached it yet. And what we're talking about is the fact that there's the lack of like stars, and I think both of those guys are great and they've got star quality, but they haven't tipped over the edge yet.
Somebody mentioned something about Angel and Loick Essien actually not tipping over the edge, but if you're going to mention Keisha White and Terri Walker, as much as I love them, I don't think that they tipped over the edge either. I don't think anybody ever classified them as R&B superstars. Maybe we just don't have or ever had an R&B superstar. Possibly Marsha Ambrosious.
Outside of London, that's the way I'm thinking about it. So I'm thinking, if this person is known outside of London, then they're doing bigger. Do you know what I mean?
If you look at it, Wretch has been in the charts, Tiny's been in the charts, Chip's
that was my point.
has been in the charts.
That was my point.
All these guys are
Check
rappers,
that.
and they've all had chart smashes. When was the last time an R&B
I'll give you my
singer
reason.
had a chart record?
I say it this way, like Nala was saying upstairs yesterday in terms of things happening in waves. I don't think R&B in this country has had its wave in terms of like, there needs to be a scene. There needs to be more than just 1, 2 or 3 of you for people to be like, oh shit, something's going on over here.
I totally agree. Any artist coming out, be they from R&B, rap, rock, you need to create a buzz for people to be interested in you. However, you need a certain amount of support from record labels and stuff like that. If they don't see any kind of interest, they're not going to back you.
It's completely true. What's the point in doing music if there's no audience? However, there is an audience for the R&B scene. Like me, I love R&B. What I do is anytime I see something that is half decent, I grab it in, hope that it's going to be great. Last year, I was all for Rough Diamonds.
Think about 10, 15 years ago, yeah? There were rappers out there. A couple were getting signed, Def Jam UK, whatever. This little subsidiary over here, cool. A couple people were getting signed, but you didn't hear from them after Tomorrow if they didn't fucking make a top 40 or top 20, whatever. That's because for me, there was no scene. For me, there needs to be a movement for people to kind of pick the fucking leaders or the fucking front runners.
I do agree for most cases that things do change over time, but in this particular instance, I think the main change is due to the fact that we now have a viable industry to sell this music. Obviously, there's been people like Soul to Soul and Sade or whoever from back in the day that sold records, but now we've got an industry. I don't think things will change because they've now figured out a way to sell to mainstream Britain.
If you talk about Taio Cruz or Craig David or whatever his scenario is like, because the R&B scene ain't there, as they come up as R&B singers, we kind of propel them to a scene that's already there because what they're trying to do isn't there. I don't think there's been enough of an underground movement. There has to be an essence. Like there has to be a base for things to grow up from it. If there's no base for me, you can't stop stacking bricks. It's just pointless. It doesn't even make no sense.
People, they get bored quite quickly. As much as we're talking about artists like Wretch and Tiny and Chip, they're brilliant. However, people's attention spans are really, really small. I'm telling you, this time next year, do not be surprised we see like a wave of R&B artists coming out because, and then the year after that, there'll be, you know, James Blunt kind of singing.
It will be hip hop. It will be UK rappers singing because that's obviously what they've been doing in the US now.
You have to wait for R&B to actually have its turn, have its little wave. As soon as one person kicks down the door and starts making R&B music and charting with it, then you'll start seeing loads of people doing it. It's like grime, for example. A lot of these artists doing grime music or whatever, as soon as they start creating a little buzz and then they start changing and they start making what is hot right now.
But even R&B in the US,
It's not R&B though.
What's
like,
that?
I'm talking proper R&B, no rapping.
But we follow the
just
States a
singing.
lot, yeah, and if you look at it, even in the States, there's been a divide where I feel like before you had pop music, you had real soul, and R&B was kind of like the middle of that. Our neo-soul scene is never going to flourish in the same way it does in the States. You're not going to have the Erykah Badu equivalent over here selling 1 million records like you do in the States. So we've got this underground neo-soul scene, and then we've got this pop urban scene, and it's kind of like destroyed the middle ground. So artists like Shola Ama, Terri Walker, Beverly Knight, all these artists that we used to have, it's almost like those middle ground artists don't seem to have the same options that they had before. Because there's a great neo-soul scene in London, like artists that haven't necessarily got massive, but there's a big neo-soul scene, and there's also a lot of pop singers. Guys like Taio Cruz did really well, but you wouldn't really call them R&B, they'd be more like pop. So it's like, I think what's happened is the same thing in America. Like, where's the American R&B singers? They've all either gone to the pop world or they've gone into doing real soul.
I think that's what happens.
Kind of
I think they have to kind of follow the trend in order to stay relevant. Look at Usher. Usher was straight R&B, then R&B kind of died. Now it's like he's doing dance music and he's getting slated for it. However, he's selling, you know, hands over fist. People are complaining about it and it's like, don't complain. He's being smart. That's a business move right there. My man is just R&B straight as far as I'm concerned, but what he's doing currently is kind of following what is current. If he kept doing the same R&B tracks that he did before, no one would be interested because it's all about dance music. That's what people are interested in now. However, music does work in cycles. Fingers crossed, I beg you, Usher, another Confessions album. That's all I'm saying.
Don't complain about him.
No, I'm just saying, if R&B comes back,
suddenly think that Euro House is the next cool thing to listen to, isn't it?
but that's what I'm saying, it goes back to attention span. People get bored with that.
And even more so now because obviously we're into interacting more and we're transferring information a lot quicker. So with the internet and shit like that, it's easier for things to have a sooner turnover. So like obviously now we're talking about rap this year and hip hop and that year. 2 years time it could be R&B.
I just think Angel's gonna be the one to kick down the door, and then once Angel kicks down the door, then you're gonna start seeing loads of other people acting like they can sing and whatnot, doing their thing, and actually making a little bit of pee from this situation right here.
I know it's sad to say, but I think the genre of R&B, what used to be R&B, is gone. There's no more of that.
Can I just point out that Jade isn't allowed to have an opinion? R&B is supposed to be, because you didn't know that the Another Level song was originally a Shai song.
You can't have a say on R&B music because you didn't know what a certain thing that I think you should know. That's ridiculous for me to think like that, because that's like saying the world should be fucking ran from my eyes.
They was a little bit hard on Jade. I don't think people should laugh at the new generation when they don't know where a song originates from. As opposed to laughing, maybe you might just want to turn around, put your arm around them and just say to them, do you know what? In fact, that isn't the original artist that did that. It's actually this person who did it.
No, but you know why I'm allowed to have an opinion on that? In my head, what I think of when I think of R&B is pop music.
She's right, it has totally changed now. I feel like it's changed into pop.
Talk about soul, maybe that's Shai and maybe all that
No,
before.
that's R&B.
But that's what I'm saying.
So what was Jodeci and Horace Brown?
R&B back then. Do you know what I mean? If we're talking R&B in 2012, that's not R&B.
You're talking
But then
about
that's the same with hip-hop.
what you're saying is that's watered down R&B then to
Yeah, so
introduce
anything
to a
now-
wider audience.
But that's the same with
Anything
hip-hop.
now that's classed as R&B is R&B/pop. There was Horace Brown, there was SWV, Shai, and Next, and all of those people that came before. But that was a completely different R&B to what we're seeing now. And I think to compare the two different R&Bs is a bit disrespectful to the R&B that came before, because the R&B that comes now is always R&B/pop. That was what I wanted to say downstairs. And the R&B before was rhythm and blues/soul.
But that's
you
the
know
same
what I
with
mean?
hip-hop though.
Yeah, exactly.
People who ask that question, what's rap and what's hip-hop? Go and listen to KRS-One, yeah? KRS-One breaks down the difference between rap and hip-hop. Rap is what you do, hip-hop is the culture, innit? There's no such thing as rap music. It's like calling R&B music sing music. No, sing is what you do to make R&B music. Rap is what you do within hip-hop music. This idea of, oh, this is rap, this is hip-hop. No, you have pop music, you have hip-hop music. Simple. 90% of what people call hip-hop is pop music. Same with R&B. Hip-hop is basically pop music now as well. There's definitely artists within the charts that still have elements of lyricism and hip-hop, but as far as the actual music that is selling right now, it's pop music. We live in a country with a smaller population than the States and a smaller demographic that would buy hip-hop and R&B music, so you gotta sell to 12-year-old white girls to make money. It doesn't surprise me that it's kind of got like this.
I get what Jade's saying, I really do, and I'm sure there's a million people out there who feel the same way, but it's because it's been introduced in another way now, in a more watered down version than what I listen to. Like, I'm with Snips on this one, like Jodeci, Horace Brown, SWV, all these people. To me, that is R&B. If you don't fall into that, then I'm sorry, you're just doing pop music.
Now you can lie. The ball's started to roll. I think eventually we're going to get to the point where you can't lie.
No, do you know
This is
what
the
you can
beginning
like?
of it.
Look how long we've been living as people and we still like. It's gonna get worse on the social network. Like,
I ain't got a bad word to say about the Brits.
come on, the Brits is really important. Like,
It's not what you were saying off camera.
don't say these things, baby. You're lucky I love you, you know.
They did do a good show this year. They definitely 100% should not have cut off Adele.